Okay, to get started, I will be using 2 pounds of lean ground beef, a half cup of red wine, 3 to 5 Roma tomatoes, 1 medium-sized onion, 1 clove of garlic, 3 tablespoons of tomato paste, 1 teaspoon of dried parsley, 2 beef bouillon cubes, 1 sprig of thyme, that's all I had, you can use more, 3 bay leaves, a quarter teaspoon to a half teaspoon of ground cinnamon, salt and pepper to taste. Okay, in a large skillet, I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of oil. You could use a good olive oil. And I'm going to start by sauteing my diced onion. I would like to mention that this is my first time making pastitsio. And I did some research, and the recipe that I decided to use as a resource comes from Akis Kitchen. I will leave the link to his YouTube channel and the recipe that he has created for a delicious pastitsio. Now, what I am doing today is a bit different. I did not follow the recipe exactly. I did change certain things and substituted some of the ingredients in his recipe. So I will put what I'm doing today below in the description box. And again, I will also put the links to his recipe as well. Okay, so I've just added some salt and pepper to taste to the onions just to help sweat them out. Now that the onions are nice and sauteed, I am going to add my minced garlic. Okay, now I am ready to add my 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. And I am just going to combine this with the onion and garlic and cook it out for around a minute or 2. Okay, so I've created a space in the middle of my pan, and now I'm going to add my ground beef. I'm just going to break it apart with my wooden spoon and brown it. I will also be adding the rest of the ingredients that's going to make this delicious meat sauce. Okay, so all of the ingredients for my meat sauce are combined. I'm going to cover the meat sauce and allow it to simmer at a medium-low heat for around 15 to 20 minutes. Then I am going to remove the lid and allow it to continue simmering until all of the liquid has reduced and simmered away. Okay, so all of the liquid has cooked out and evaporated. So now I'm just going to remove all of my bay leaves and the stem from the thyme. And now I'm just going to set aside my meat until I need it later to make my pastitsio. Now let's move on to the bechamel sauce. Okay, I will be using 4 to 4.5 cups of whole milk, a half cup or 1 stick of unsalted butter, a half cup of all-purpose flour, freshly ground nutmeg, I'll be using around 1/4 teaspoon, salt and pepper to taste, 3 egg yolks, and I'm also going to be using a cassetti cheese. This is a Greek cheese that I found at my local supermarket and I had to buy it and use it. You can most definitely use Parmesan cheese. And this wedge is around 5 to 6 ounces of cheese. Okay, so I've preheated a saucepan and I will be melting down my stick of butter. Now this pan sort of got a little too hot. You don't want to burn or brown your butter, so I'm just going to remove it from the heat and swirl the butter around until it melts. Okay, the butter has melted down, so now I am going to add my half cup of all-purpose flour. Now with a whisk, I am going to combine and mix well, and I'm going to cook the flour out for about a minute or 2. By the way, I am actually using a medium to medium low heat. You never want to do a bechamel sauce on high heat because it will burn. Now my flour is cooked out, so now it's time to add my milk, and I will be adding around a half cup to a cup at a time. While whisking, this will ensure that my bechamel sauce will be lump-free and silky smooth. Okay, now I'm going to add my salt and pepper to taste. Now I'm going to grate in fresh nutmeg. Now you can most definitely add as much as you like. I'm only going to add 1/8 teaspoon. Next, I will be adding grated cheese. Again, I'm using a Greek cheese that I found at my local supermarket, but you can most definitely use something like Parmesan cheese that is a little bit more accessible. And I'm going to be using around 1/3 cup of this cheese in my bechamel sauce. I'm going to allow my bechamel sauce to thicken, and then off the heat, I am going to add 3 egg yolks. And I did reserve the egg whites, and I'll show you what I do with them later. Okay, so my bechamel sauce is done. I am going to set it aside until I need it. And now let's move on to the pasta. I am using mezzani pasta. This is around 1 pound of pasta. Now, if you cannot find this particular pasta, use any long tubular pasta, and I'll show you what I mean. Basically, it's long and it's hollow in between. I'm going to be cooking my pasta for around 4 minutes. I'm not going to cook it through. To make an al dente pasta, the package said 9 minutes, so I'm going to cook it half of that time because it's going to cook when we bake it, and you don't want mushy pasta. So now that my pasta is where I need it to be, I'm going to remove it and drain the water. Then I'm going to place it into a well-oiled baking dish. I'm going to allow my pasta to cool just for around 5 minutes. And now I am going to combine my reserved egg whites from the egg yolks that I used earlier with 1 extra egg. I'm going to give it a good whisk and combine it with the pasta, and I'm just going to mix and combine it well. Okay, so now that that is combined, I'm going to set it aside just for a second. And now I am going to prepare the meat. I'm going to add 2 ladlefuls of the bechamel sauce to the meat. It is to help the meat bind together when you bake it. And I'm just going to give this a good mix and then bring back the pasta, and I am ready to start building my pastitsio. I am going to bake this in a preheated oven of 350 degrees for around 45 minutes, or until the top layer of the bechamel and cheese are bubbly and golden brown. Okay, so it has been 45 minutes exactly, and my pastitsio is ready. Well, it's almost ready. Here's probably the hardest part. I suggest you wait 1 hour. Now, if you're really rushed, 30 minutes. But for the ingredients and measurements that I used, I waited an hour because you don't want this to fall apart when you cut into it. But if you don't mind that, then sure, eat it while it's piping hot, but it will slide and spread everywhere. So for best results, be patient and let it set for 1 hour. And as always, check the description below for measurements and ingredients. So it has been 1 hour and I am ready to cut into this. I'm just going to cut me a piece and garnish with some more dried parsley, and dinner is ready. Oh, the smells in my kitchen make me even hungrier. My love affair with pastitsio is a long one, and I don't see it ending anytime soon. So I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching! Hey guys, click the video icons for more recipes. Or you can click my picture icon to subscribe. Thanks for watching!